Everybody sing that shit.
Guide to Shinnecock Hills, Sportsmail takes a look at crazy course that broke the best 14 years ago. The U.S. Open returns to one of the most iconic golfing venues in the U.S. with Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy set to battle once again for the second major of the year. Shinnecock Hills, on Long Island in New York, is the host golf course this time round, and it is yet again set to test the best golfers in the game. Last time this venue hosted the U.S. Open in 2004, it came under plenty of scrutiny for breaking the world's best. And ahead of Thursday's start, Sportsmail has taken a look at the background of Shinnecock Hills and what has changed since 14 years ago. Membership of the historic golf club, redesigned in 1937 by William Flynn, is for members only. Shinnecock Hills, set to host its fifth U.S. Open in history, claims to be the first golf club to admit women. In 1893, a 9-hole ladies-only course was designed and built on the property. History: the course, located in the town of Southampton on Long Island, was founded in 1891 by Willie Davis as one of just 5 founding clubs of the USGA, United States Golf Association. It was only a 12-hole course when it opened, but it was eventually expanded to 18 holes in 1895. Perfectly timed. It hosted the second ever U.S. Open in 1896, as well as the U.S. Amateur. And 90 years after the tournament was first held at Shinnecock Hills, it was played there again, much to the delight of locals. It hosted the tournament in 1986, 1995 and finally 2004, with South African Retief Goosen winning the latter. It is the first and only course to hold the U.S. Open in 3 different centuries. And that trend is set to continue, with Shinnecock Hills also being announced as the venue for 2026. Fun facts: it is claimed that the tricky golf course has the oldest clubhouse in the U.S. It was designed in 1892 by Stamford White and is quaint in size. However, any golf fans hoping to get a close-up will be disappointed with it being used as a VIP viewing area instead. Shinnecock is one of just 2 U.S. Open golf courses to measure under 7,000 yards, doing so in 2004. Marion was the other course in 2013. One change that has been made since the last Open here is that the fairways were widened in 2012. They will be the widest and most open fairways since the tournament was first held here. In 2004, the average fairway width was 26 yards. But now it is 41 yards. Tough winds may make Shinnecock a tough venue for the world's best. Much like courses in England and Scotland, it is often very tricky to predict which way the wind is coming from and how it changes throughout the round. Very few of the holes run parallel to each other. Controversy 3 years ago at Chambers Bay: it was bad greens that were compared to putting on broccoli on a course designed by a man who had to have one leg shorter than the other. 2 years ago at Oakmont it was the bizarre rules decision, or indecision, that left the eventual winner Dustin Johnson, other players, officials and spectators unsure of what Johnson's score was with just 7 holes to play. Last year at Erin Hills it was the sound of heavy rough being cut down on 4 holes which left former champion Rory McIlroy shaking his head in disbelief during his pre-tournament press conference. And the last time this year's venue hosted the U.S. Open, in 2004, play had to be suspended during the final round, in which 28 of the 66 players amazingly failed to break 80, to water the 7th green, which had already been described as ridiculous and unplayable by Ernie Els a day earlier. So while it is anyone's guess what will happen in the actual golf this year, there can be no doubt that the tournament organizers, USGA, will be desperate to avoid similar problems at Shinnecock Hills. It was certainly a bogey last time, maybe a double bogey, USGA chief executive Mike Davis said of the farcical scenes at Shinnecock in 2004. Davis was not in charge of the association or course set up 14 years ago, but he was the USGA official on the 7th green, communicating with the rest of the staff about what to do. He admits the U.S. Open is probably set up closer to the edge than any other event in golf apostrophe, but insists that will not be the case this time. Nowadays we have firmness meters, "We've got moisture meters in the greens," Davis said. "The meteorology is better, so we know not only where the winds are coming from but the velocities. And frankly, there's better communication between the USGA and ground staff. So I think we're comfortable." McIlroy is not so sure. He said, "I think the USGA thinks that we're better than we actually are, if that makes sense. I don't want to single out Mike Davis here. I think it's a collective thought process. I don't think it should be as much of an exact science to set up golf courses as it is. Get the fairways sort of firm, grow the rough, put the pins in some tough locations, but fair, and let us go play." It's been a very reactionary few years to what happened at Chambers Bay, site of the Broccoli Greens. I think they felt Erin Hills was going to be similar to Chambers Bay, so they soaked it and made it really wide, and all of a sudden 16 under par wins again, and they're like, what just happened?